And actually, almost based on that, if he can do a good job, I'd expect that to be br1ck's map to take. But otherwise, it's fairly... in fact, Nyx, I think, is actually the opposite of what Sorlag is on Orc. I think Nyx is very difficult to play on Veil. It's such a tight map, spawn frags are possible, and if Nyx is caught off guard with no Ghost Walk available off the spawn, I mean, I'm sorry, but you're going to be farming her like Sparty.
I mean, oh god, is that... Don't let it be a new term, Zoot, for the love of God.
We'll see what he does next week, and I'll see if I change my mind.
If you guys are... Don't ask. If I say, if you guys are wondering, don't ask. Just don't ask. Watch the VOD. Just go watch the VOD. But anyway, yeah. So, I mean, ultimately, that is one of the things that I guess takes us by surprise is the next pick, because it's Veil seems to be normally a map where it's damage and burst, and not much else.
Yeah.
But I think now's a good time to have a chat about some predictions. Yes. These are following through. This is another week where players are evenly matched. Again, I want to sort of just regurgitate some of this information in case some of you are joined just for the NA portion. But the players at QuakeCon, everyone played everyone at QuakeCon. Their placements were determined there, not just for the finals day, but placements within week 1 of the Quake Pro League as well. We have reset to a neutral state where we're now playing for points from 0 onwards. However, who plays who in week 1 is dictated by how evenly matched players were over at QuakeCon. So with this being, everyone playing everyone here makes the most sense before we go into the placements. It's hard to make predictions.
Are you going with the ranking that they were in global ranking? Because Sib is 1 above br1ck. Are you going with Sib based purely on this? I mean,
results don't lie, and if Sib did better than br1ck at QuakeCon, my prediction is that Sib will win this. It could very well be a 2-1 though. But again,
you've got a good track record, remember?
But of all the matches that have a chance of being a 2-1 of NA, I think this is the one with br1ck that could be 2-1. I would,
You think br1ck can take it?
I am not sure. I think it would be a wonderful...
I'm not got confidence in him.
no, generally, if he did do amazingly well at QuakeCon, it's going to be kind of hard for him. But he has a lot of I think, expectations to meet for himself.
Yes.
And that does bring with it actually quite a mental toll. If you have all these expectations on your shoulders to finally start doing better than you should be doing, you can doubt a lot of decision-making, can't you? In these situations where you've got to make a play, and it's like... You're already putting so much pressure on yourself. Surely that's much harder to make a decision.
Yeah.
And all these different things. So I think Sib's actually going into this with less pressure.
Okay. Well, it's maybe obvious. I think br1ck kind of has to win this if to show any kind of growth in his game.
Yeah.
I think he's got a good chance at it, but I think I'd go for a close 2-1 for Sib. Maybe a bit of a cop-out thing because I think you're saying very similar. But you've got a good track record, and I need to agree with you so that I don't make a fool of myself.
I think it could be 2-1 Sib for that reason, though. It's like what you just said, where br1ck kind of needs to... He's got a lot to prove today.
3-0 Sib, actually. I'd maybe have a sort of tentatively look at that.
But if Sib gets a 3-0, that's not a bad result, because no player today has actually had a 3-0. Let's remember, it's 2 points per map win, and if you get a 3-0, you get a bonus 2 points, making it 8 in total. No one in EU or CIS has had 8 points yet.
Well, we are in the game, guys. We have started the Americas portion of the Quake Pro League. We're watching Sib off the get-go. He has a rail super shotgun. Starting machine gun will be looking as soon, getting himself over to the other weapons on the map. But br1ck, of course, is on the Ranger, has got that mobility potential, and is probably going to have the rockets and lightning gun already. There's a bit of patience there from Sale. I quite like that he's not committing to anything too early on. He's trying to gauge a little bit of information, not try and go into some hallways too aggressively too soon. Wait till you manage to get yourself the trifecta, then maybe think about it. Exchange on damage right there. Sib did take the most recent heavy. He's lacking a tiny bit of health compared to br1ck, but it's basically even.
We'll always have to see how long it is even for at this stage. Ultimately, it's you always find that NA and EU do play a little bit differently. Depends on, I guess, how high tier of players you end up reaching, but even then, that's why I'm interested. Both these players are statistically evenly matched.
We like statistics.
Yes, we do. However, this has been an exceptionally slow start to the map. And again, it's just not overextending, right? Neither player's trying to push too hard. Even those rails, they're pretty safe rails. They finally get a trade. br1ck's going to use his orb just to try and beat him to the punch at heavy. Unfortunately, he's been beat there by Sib, but the positioning is fantastic. 1-0, br1ck scores first blood here in the NA Pro League.
Well, Sib kind of committed to that heavy a bit hard on the actual spawn point of it. Usually you're kind of meandering around it a little bit or leaving in a direction as soon as you've picked it up. So Sib kind of ate a few too many rockets just then.
Got some time before Piercing Sight comes back. I feel like that's going to be really useful for Sib, just trying to get some of that immediate information, but he's had a hard time so far. Nice little rail, but the work's going to get undone pretty much immediately there as Brick. He gets the heavy anyway, that missed rail. It's going to allow Brick to chase down. The next objective's definitely going to be this Mega. The rails have been missing. There's really not been a lot of entry damage. But it does mean that Brick now can fight for this Mega. No doubt he's got timing. He'll maintain his timing and he's now going to collect it.
It does feel like a traditional slow pace kind of Molten that I'm used to, though. Brick doesn't need to egg this on too hard. There's going to be heavy up in a moment, coming up at the last second. I quite like the timing for Brick moving into this room. Not being over-aggressive at all. He secures himself the heavy safely. He moves away. And Sib's advantage has neither really grown or shrunk during any of that.
There's definitely been designated halves to the map. Brick get caught off guard, having to last-minute use his Dirob just so he doesn't get free railed. But that doesn't mean he's out of dodge. And there's been a lot of these missed rails. So it's, you know...
There's a lot of damage missed.
Yeah, exactly. We're going back to these pretty neutral situations. No one really has a clear advantage over the other. The only advantage so far is Brick's one frag lead, but a one frag lead is on a thin line.
I think Sib, after taking that heavy, is going to be looking quite hungry towards getting a frag. There's a very good entry rail he needs to push in. There's still no orb, so really pushing in is not that challenging. But he's moving back to get himself the mega health. Don't entirely disagree with the play to sustain control, but closing out opportunities is a very big factor in Quake. He's constructed something for himself, but now Brick could fight back on the control. And he's got the orb back. That presents another danger to Sib, where he could lose a significant portion of his stack if he goes in for a close range fight.
And Brick is absolutely sort of not shy of playing defensively either. You can clearly see that he's playing at a snail's pace right now. He's spending most of his time walking around, doesn't want to give Sib any information. And he's going to sit on this lead. If he can catch Sib off guard, Sib has had a lot more, I guess you could say, control. Like, a lot more of these pickups seem to have been going to Sib. And Brick doesn't really seem to be worried about it too much. He's going to spring the trap, though. Is he going to live to regret it? He's very weak, missing a lot of these rockets, too. Sib finally gets what he's after, which is a return frag, making it 1-1. And he's going to get the heavy, too, as a final reward. We're about to go halfway through this map already. And would you believe that we're almost halfway through?
Indeed.
It's been quite a very, very slow map, but...
Oh, Brick does do some good damage with the lightning gun, but Sib switches to the right weapon, managed to secure himself a frag advantage now. I feel like Brick's slightly overcommitting to some of these fights, though.
Which is kind of strange how he's playing so defensive, and then when a fight happens, he sticks around too long. Yeah,
it's like he wants to be doing damage, but he doesn't need to be quite as far forward to deal the damage. He can put himself by a sort of an area to escape, and there's just a sort of level of safety where if things go wrong, then at least he can fall back. And it's not really been how he's executed it.
Sib temporarily sitting there with the advantage, though. Brick with a lot of stack. The question is, how important is that going to be now? As Brick catches him. I like that shot, actually. If that missed rail happened, then I think Sib would have been able to get out of there. So it's finally nice to see Brick capitalize. He's now chasing it down.
Oh my god, we saw a little mid-air going on from Sib. He's cornered him with the rockets, though. I think he just lands something. It could have been direct, but he kills himself with his own rocket damage in the end. Sib was left incredibly low on health, but has got the Mega to work with.
Sib is railable. The problem is Brick didn't have a rail to really make it count, so he's finally been able to collect. With 4 minutes left, that rocket's just good information for Sib, who lands a fantastic rail, looking for one more. Brick returns the favor.
Sib's got to go. He's got to leave. He's on about 60 health there, and it's time to get out. I like the orb, trying to speed his way towards catching out Sib. Maybe heard him going up towards the lightning gun. Brick's going to deny the light armor. I like that too. Now time to hunt down Sib a bit.
Yeah, in terms of stack, I think Brick's in a fantastic position, and he's got time to make a play. It's just, how is he going to be able to sort of crack into how, you know, Sib, he's kind of running, not running rings around him as such, but he's always just to be just that inch further away, doesn't he? Whenever br1ck finally catches Sib, he's not really springing a trap that can land a kill. He's getting a rail here, he's getting a rocket there, but it's nothing that will stop Sib from running away. Like even right here, these defensive shots have been great. Ooh. Finally gets a good rocket! And at the last minute, Sib nowhere to run.
It's so unusual at the same time though. Sib's doing some good damage out of position, but he still doesn't have the stack to hang around. He has to continuously be on his toes. I think br1ck was lucky to find that opportunity then. br1ck is low. He's rocking himself. Fortunately, he's range. Oh, wow! The flick! That's what we needed to see from him. He's going to take an advantage. He's got 225s to pick up in the rail room. And only about 2.5 minutes left. I wouldn't think about playing it defensively, but keep fighting for that control, and victory and 2 points are in sight.
Yeah, that definitely could have gone pear-shaped, but it was that moment of clutch, and this is kind of what we've needed to see from br1ck. He doesn't have a lot of those kind of glory moments compared to someone like, a Razy or a Zron, but ultimately he's in this Pro League for a reason. He's trying to climb just like everyone else. And if he can get some wins here, it's a fantastic start for him. The rocket jump, I respect it.
I respect it too.
He's actually mixed up Sib a little bit. I think Sib didn't realize he was up there, so it has allowed br1ck to escape, but can he get away safely?
He's injecting a bit of chaos there. No problems with that whatsoever. Mega's going to be up soon. br1ck has given a lot of respect to Sib. He hits a rail, but he's vulnerable. He hits 2 in a row, both of them are weak, and he just gets out of the way in time.
We all felt that missed rail. We felt that one good.
Position was scary. If Sib was landing his shots just then, I think the game would be tied up.
And it would have been a perfect time to tie up, because the more time it takes now as they're starting to stack back up again, it's time that Sib doesn't have to make a play. He's only got 1.5 minutes. He's got to get one frag, but br1ck, he's going to put on ultra defense mode, right? Like he knows he's there. He's not going to make any noise and give himself away.
Get
the double back.
This is good though. Sib jumps into all of that lightning gun. That's going to be 4-2 at the moment. We had Sib on the camera the second. He has to make the comeback. It's still possible for him. I'm not ruling it out whatsoever. Let's see if he can actually get something from this. He's going to have the piercing sight in a second. The problem is he's using it when he's got very limited weaponry. He should be able to gauge exactly where br1ck is without the piercing sight. Then when you've got the lightning gun or the rockets or both to complement the rest of your weaponry, that's when you use it. Now he's only going to have 1 piercing sight left, and that's possibly only going to be, around for 1 frag. br1ck's giving angles.
Shot. br1ck probably thinking he was safe, but he had another thing coming. He's caught him fresh off the spawn.
He's got to hide. br1ck has got to hide, because this is absolutely possible for Sib to come back.
Get
one down, and another. Sib ties it up.
I'm just really surprised br1ck gave him that angle, to be honest. I really feel like br1ck would have been a little bit more careful, and he's trying to be careful here, but there might be nowhere to run. The piercing sight, you can chase him down. He can't get away. And now Sib has br1ck in a really tricky position. One more shot! Misses it. Is that going to be enough to keep him alive? As br1ck now tries to run away. Sib keeping the control. He takes the mega.
This is rough for br1ck. br1ck going up lightning gun. He's got to back away again. He just can't be in this room. He knows that heavy's spawning soon. He knows that Sib will be looking over the heavy.
You almost have to ask the question, how? How did this happen? How did br1ck just simply allow Sib to get those 4 rail shots?
It's just exposing himself absolutely when he shouldn't be. And we've got our first sudden death of the day.
Temporary lack.
Sudden death of Quake Pro League.
I mean, it's a real shame. That temporary error in judgment has potentially lost the entire map. But br1ck, he's out of ammo! He's...
Oh, it's done.
Running out of ammunition. The moment he ran out of rockets there, that was pretty much game over. Because, obviously, no damage is coming. You have to get caught changing weapons. The whole thing. Free, unreturned damage. Feels bad, man.
And you can see that there's an item advantage for Sib, excluding the light armor. It's all about the mages, really. Still, and a damage advantage on top of that. Both players are actually pretty nifty with their rails, but Sib hitting 50% with 17 of 34 is very, very nice from him. Good comeback from Sib, but... br1ck, I think as soon as it went to sudden death, I was like, there's no way he can win it, because he's going versus a fully stacked Sib, and he's totally played off the map. Like the last 2 minutes, he was played off the map. Just because... And he decides to just expose himself to rails. I mean, these are mistakes that people try to iron out as soon as possible, and especially when you're playing a defensive game, you've got to be hiding around the corners, not hiding out in the open.
But that's the surprising thing from us, I think, and that they were the 2 fatal errors back-to-back, the same mistake made twice, where br1ck, I mean, that map was his. I truly feel like he choked that one, where he had the map almost the entire time, and then at the last possible second, he just gave angles that, by no means should he have done at all. And there are a couple of fumbles. Like, that was almost a complete disaster where br1ck accidentally blew himself up, but he recovered wonderfully. Sib gets caught trying to double back, caught airborne, nothing he can do. And from this point, it was you're just surprised it happened. And then, yeah, that final turnaround was just unfortunate at the end of the day. And that was it. He ran out of damage. Look at the stack at the end, running out of rockets. He had no
I just don't know why he was there, though. He's vastly outstacked, and he's pushing further into the room where it seemed he knew that Sib was by the rocket spawn, so back off a bit. You've got some escape routes, and then you've got like multiple exits in which to choose from, and then Sib, he's going to bank on one of them, and you've got a chance to kind of just juke your way around him. And then live to, fight another day, where you can fight back for control before you commit to the next fight. So it's just very questionable plays from br1ck right at the end, and hopefully it's something he can iron out moving into the next map.
Well, yeah, so we're going into our next map, which is going to be Awoken. I know the champion pick is Sorlag and BJ. It's Sib going in with BJ and br1ck going in with Sorlag, so maybe we're going to see something there. Awoken is just, it's such a popular map with almost every single player.
This is Sib's map pick as well, so br1ck just lost on his own map, which just feels bad. But now time to bring it back. You've got the Sorlag. I've seen that he's pretty decent with this champion. I can absolutely see him taking the map down. And it sounds like we're about to jump into game now. In fact, I believe Awoken is getting under and away. We have got Sib on BJ. br1ck has got himself the heavy already on Sorlag. And Tribal just barely missing by the teleporter. And Lightning Gun always nice to have with BJ early on. Oh, gonna spot him on the side.
Yeah, definitely not a terrible spawn to have, honestly. However, if he gets caught by rocket combos like that...
He just can't move there. He gets hit by one. It's just jolting him around. He can't get his feet firmly on the floor to strafe away. Very nice opening kill from br1ck.
And it's the momentum that comes with it, right? It's dangerous now for Sib to try and fight for this heavy. It's going to be uncontested. Is he even going to beat him to the Mega? br1ck's trying to get a rail. Not a bad choice, to be honest, because now Sib, there's still no armor to be had. I love the rocket jump to chase it down. This should be another kill. Misses the rail, but it's not over. Sib.
Lightning gun. I actually respect the fact that he didn't go through the close choke point, because there's a decent amount of damage he could have received. And I really like the weapon choices he had in the fights beforehand. Definitely a shame he couldn't close it out, but I think he's taken a conservative approach early on in the game in order to retain the control himself. Particularly when he didn't overcommit to the Mega Health and he just went for the damage from a distance. Those are some strong plays.
Yeah, absolutely. Now he's getting clipped. But ultimately, I really like Sorlag on this map for the fact that she can just truly, cycle around and no issues to worry about at all when it comes to... I think BJ too, it's quite a clash of mobility, isn't it? And I know we've actually said that sentence a couple of times now when it comes to BJ, but he's all damage. He's a bit like a walking tank, isn't he? And then you look at someone like Sorlag, who, once you've got that momentum going, br1ck has to be kind of careful, actually. He is going to be railable until he got that heavy.
And what's the health bubbles? I think it might have just been taken already anyway. Sib's going for some good distance rails, unfortunately not connecting with anything at the moment. He's having an easier time railing against the Ranger than the Sorlag, as it stands. But the Heavy and the Mega will spawn at the same time. br1ck has been able to buy time that he needs, and is hoping that he can get a positive exchange on the major items. He doesn't get railed, that's absolutely crucial. And now his confidence is starting to escalate a bit.
Yeah, I think it's just how snappy he's moving around too. There was so much slow play coming out on Molten, and some of that might have been, I might even dare I say nerves. Some of these guys are a bit prone to getting quite nervous when LAN happens or when the tournament pressure adds up. And we'll see. This is the first, technically, it's the first NA games, isn't it, in Pro League in general?
Yeah, it's a prestigious tournament.
There's a lot on your shoulders, but the dual wield, I think, eagerly used by Sib, may have pulled the trigger a bit too early on that one because the damage was non-existent. Misses the rail as well. A giant risk going towards Heavy, but it looks like br1ck didn't even realize he was there.
LG's not too shabby, connecting fairly well, but the rail at the top of the bounce pad. He doesn't want to go for any of the acid spit at all. Sib was left kind of weak. He was struggling to keep the connection all the way with the lightning gun. Rockets might not have been a bad choice, but he catches him in the...
Oh
he can't get it!
I cannot believe he wasn't able to seal the deal. After Heavy, it was just unfortunate that he didn't know that Sib was by Heavy in the first place. But that second frag, I felt like that was a guarantee to win.
He had him closed out in his little cubby hole and he couldn't manage to secure it. Sib's going to get himself one more. He's under so much pressure. I don't even disagree with Brick being aggressive off the spawn. I think he should carry on going with it. If he's got the weaponry to go for it, do it. Now dual wield Rockets almost pushes him off the map, but Brick does actually secure the kill on this occasion, making it 2-3.
That's good for him. I mean, it just went horribly wrong, and when those kind of frags don't go your way, the big thing you can try and do is just don't let it tilt you. Those kind of moments can tilt a player off the face of the earth.
Well, he's managed to recollect himself somewhat. There is the Heavy that will spawn shortly. Brick is poised for it. And eventually he's going to be able to drop down. He hears the rockets coming through. Oh, God! Wow. The full hundo there through the hole in the wall.
100 big ones. Count them up. The question is actually how pivotal is a rocket of that damage anyway? Sib, he's going to get a rail.
With the follow-up damage that there's been, this is really significant.
Oh, the miss!
Oh God, and the Mega's not going to be up straight away, so he has to back away for this. That means that Brick can get himself on the Mega health. 100 collective health and armor. Rail does miss out. I think Sib may have just used the ledge grab there to help him along a little sooner.
There are a couple of these crucial shots that Brick is currently unable to land, and it's really unfortunate. He's doing all the hard work to get the reads and get the big plays, and it's like he just needs to hit that final rail or that final rocket, and he's missing the mark more often than not. Just gives Sib the opening, an opening that he otherwise shouldn't have. And another one of these missed shots. Sib hits it, goes in for the double rail. Is that going to matter, I wonder? Acid spit.
Dual wield LG would have been pretty hot. Oh, he still manages to get the kind of the back end of dual wield to work for him, dealing out that crucial 180 damage, meaning he can challenge for the next Heavy. Rushing the rail shot somewhat. Oh, I love the angles that Sib's going for. Execution is not quite there, but the idea is absolutely right. There's going to be 90 damage. He knows where Brick's heading towards. I was like, yeah, you're still there, mate. I'm landing some splash rocket damage.
Brick's trying to make the chase, but consistently in these fights he just does not have the stack. So he's constantly having this uphill battle. It is unfortunate for Brick because, you know, when you're behind and you have to constantly try and make these plays, it's not easy to do when you're, you know, constantly having to chase and you're behind and you're worried about your health and they're hitting these defensive shots. And now Sib with a chunky stack that he's sitting on right now. And
good opening damage there from Brick, but it's hard for him to commit to this. Dual coming out, he is not favorited in this. He had to do more damage, he had to back away. Giving up frags now is just not a good look.
4 minutes on the clock, so we definitely can't count out the boy from Ascent, but I am concerned. I'm just concerned about how free he's giving up damage. Even if it's not even the frags, he's... Woo! Oh, hello there! What a shot that was, and yeah, a little bit of a shake. He hit the great one and missed the two.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. If you look at that, if you look at that on its own, man, that is gold right there. That's still good.
Just cut the tape at the right moment.
Trying to connect on one of these, like the opportunities to shots that he's trying to get. Heavy's going to be up in a moment. Good pressure over at Connector. He has to watch out, otherwise he might not be able to get on Heavy so easily. But landing that fadeaway rail. But I do think that Brick's not really pressuring enough on the major items. Sib definitely should have been pressured on that Heavy. Well, so one rail landed on Brick, which means that Sib can get it, but he shouldn't have had it at first free as that.
It's like so many of these fights aren't going in Brick's favor that I almost wonder if he's just anxious to make the play now. And it's with 3 minutes on the clock and the fact that he's already behind, you almost like you got to put those anxieties behind your head because you're going to make something happen. Like it doesn't matter if you're nervous or not. You just have to try.
Yeah, needs some any kind of opening down from Brick and needs to go for it. This Heavy will help him out because Sib's not here to punish. He's very late on and not necessarily the right weapon to have out. Going with the LG.
Ooh,
Rocket at the end. It's like the auto switch that we saw just then. That's a brilliant shot.
Oh, no!
Rail follow-up's not the one. Shotgun's a good weapon to have, but he's not landing it. That is a very optimistic rail to go for.
Oh, I really feel like that fight just went from bad to worse for Brick. Again, I'm surprised he wasn't able to close it out. That just felt like it was his frag through and through, yet somehow not only did he miss it, Sib punished him and took the frag instead.
The approach to the fight just wasn't spot. However, Brick has done some good damage now, so he's not totally out of this map just yet. There's a transform with barely any armor on Sib. He's got to be very careful holding on to this lead that he's got. There's going to be mega health. This should go towards Brick. Needs to make sure that timing is absolutely on point. 10 seconds time till a heavy. He's going to dive straight into this, but he needs to find a way where he can pop him up and have him in line of sight for the follow-up shot, because those are going to be the killer blows.
Sib is just patiently waiting now. He's going to jump down towards heavy and just hook, line, and sinker. Like, I know Brick has that as a position where he's got to try and fight, but that rail has put him so far behind. He's got to run around and try and find those small health bubbles, and it takes a long time to get those.
Lovely.
Nice little nail jump. I like it. But the time it's taking Brick to stack up, it's wasting time. Time that he doesn't have. We're just about to approach that 1 minute warning, and he is running out of time here.
Oh, dual wield. Okay, this is the window for Brick. He's going to have her dual wield gone, so he doesn't have to worry about that for a second. He needs to get himself onto the heavy. Mega is available. Sib's being very passive. This is the chance. There is still a possibility that they can come back in these last 45 seconds. He's just got to find him. And he's just got eyes on. He's put some acid over the other side of the teleporter. He has to follow directly at the moment. He has managed to find Sib. The rocket's not bad at all. Sib still has some stack to work with, but the defensive rockets are good. And I think that should seal out the map. He's also finding the rails off the spawn. There's a couple, and he goes in for the telefrag.
Oh my days, the final nail in the coffin. This map's going to be over. Sib with the 2-0 on Brick here. And now we're going into what is essentially that bonus third map to see if there's going to be a 3-0, and it's just nothing has worked here. Every kill counts in the global rankings, so Sib will take every single frag he can, but okay. It's 2-0 Zoop. Is there going to be a 3-0? That's the question. I mean, at this pace,
yeah, I think
maybe.
So. I think so. I think Sib's been fairly good on his pressure. He's definitely turning up to the major items, even if he's not taking them. He's turning up to do damage at really good times. Obviously, 25% rail doesn't help, but I also feel like Brick isn't pressuring items at the right moment. And what have we got at the end? Is it
Veil? Yeah, Veil of Nath with Death Knight and Nyx.
Yeah, and is Brick picking Nyx? Yeah, I think we're going to get our first 3-0.
I am fearful that the champion pick's just not going to work out.
Yeah.
On top of the fact that Brick isn't... I don't feel like he's bringing his A game today. I feel like there are just a couple of mistakes and errors in judgment that Sib is both not making and then completely capitalizing on. Like, he had an amazing start. Like, what an amazing way to kick off the map.
Yeah, for sure.
And then it just fell apart, like almost immediately, unfortunately.
Brick's had good starts to Molten and Awoken, and it's just... kind of goes passive really soon, and he's no longer pressuring necessarily where he should be. There was a good kind of line of play that he did have, but I really think that Sib's been more consistent with his positive plays. And I think Sib's actually really good at Veil as well. It's one of his better maps, in my opinion. I think Brick's actually probably in for his hardest map yet.
And we also look at the champion combination, Death Knight versus Nyx. Nyx is normally seen to be quite a safe pick when it comes to champions. On the Veil, she can get caught in a bad position regularly. And if you've not got that Ghost Walk, as we said earlier on, and you get caught on spawn, I mean, you know, just you may as well just accept your death at that point. So this is a difficult position now for Brick. This might be our first 3-0 of the Pro League. But what a start for Sib. What a great start it would be for him.
He seems incredibly aware at the moment. It's a really, really positive start for him. If he can get 8 points right off the bat, what a way to go. That's, you know, the strides you need to take in order to keep yourself afloat in the Pro League, moving over to Luca and having a kind of, not say a comfortable ride, but... you know, feeling good in the main event and for another season of the Quake Pro League.
The important thing about these weeklies not only is just, you know, getting the points and determining where people are going to be at the LAN and how. The important thing ultimately is getting experience in the weeklies so that you just get more and more comfortable. Before Quake Pro League, there hasn't been a lot of competitive activity at all for Quake this year, and this was like the first big thing. And we are sort of like dawning the end of the year. It started at QuakeCon. So some of these players, maybe they've just not had this regular weekly online experience in a tournament setting to get comfortable with this year. Like, I'm looking at Sib and Brick as two examples of that, honestly.
Sib is so active, though. He's almost like always under scrutiny, I think. So it feels like even when he's practicing, he's consistently being judged, eyes on. And maybe that's the perks of being a very regular streamer, because everything you do, say, all results are judged. Brick, though, is getting a nice start to Veil. But nice starts are what we're used to seeing from him. Sib is the one who seems to have the heart throughout the entirety of the map. We're going to get the Ghost Walk used. Stacks are fairly similar.
I mean, br1ck tends to be losing steam throughout the course of these maps, and that's one of the problems he's been having.
Yeah.
He needs to make sure he keeps that momentum 100% on this map, because, again, like, 3 zeros are really, really important, but we've had nothing but 2 1s today on EU and CIS. You know, so if you can at least make the result emulate that of the rest of the competition, you're not really at a massive disadvantage.
Well, Sib's the one getting control. There's the light armor. br1ck can get himself a couple of these hourglasses too. That's going to make him feel a lot better. Now he can prepare himself. Oh, that's
nice.
a great rocket.
What a shot.
Oh, he's found him again. Great rail switch. He should be able to follow up with another one. 2-0. It has to be. Ghost Walk to clear up the frag.
Oh, I can't believe he missed.
Oh, God.
I really feel like that should have been a guaranteed kill there. Well, we'll see if he can...
Is that the timing of the Ghost Walk until when you can shoot again,
Yeah.
I think is what got him.
I mean, it had to be.
If there was enough health, I think Sib probably still would have gone through the teleporter, but I think it would have been a frag.
We just needed an extra half second right there. There's the trap's been set. br1ck's being really careful. He's showing a lot of respect to the flames. Ooh, almost.
He's got to get himself in position now for heavy. Going for that light armor. Is that going to slow him down a little bit? Does slightly. And now he's just got to protect this mega.
A little bit of entry damage. It's not damage as much as it is information. Ghost Walk used last minute. Does he overextend? Looks for a rail shot. Gets it, but not enough. Sib actually trying to press this just a little bit. I was surprised he was advancing there, to be honest, with a stack that low. But these brave choices, it's what really has been setting Sib apart from br1ck. I think there's been a different level of, it looks like confidence to me. Sib just looks a bit more confident throughout the course of this series.
Yeah, even though br1ck's been making some good play, he's not closed out any of the recent opportunities for frags. He has the Ghost Walk, he's got limited ammunition on a couple of weapons. Jump over the rail.
Those darn steps.
And now he's at heavy in good time. Sib's being calm.
I think it's because Sib must understand there's not a lot of work that needs doing to make this 1-1. So, you know, if you're just careful when you try and spring a trap, or maybe you can take a fight on your own terms, when you only have to get 1 frag, you know, there's no rush, and it's not like we're running out of time either. You know?
Yeah, he doesn't need to commit to an opportunity that's only 50% good.
Or
LG's very, very nice from br1ck there. Sib having to back away somewhat. There's dropping down, dangerous maneuver, but there's the heavy there. However, Sib falls back. He's got the mega health coming up shortly. He's standing on point, being railable. Oh, wow, the time he takes, the rocket's not going to go through. Ghost Walk's going to get forced out. Sib doesn't know exactly where he's going to go. Gets the vertical rail going. Now Sib is actually vulnerable to a rail shot.
it was actually very risky on br1ck's part. I think he very tactically kind of retreated a little bit, held a tiny amount of an angle, so he wasn't really in harm's way, and especially when you've got that level of elevation, it's like he could be chased, but Sib was ready!
He was so quick to get there.
He's going to get the heavy 2 as a reward at this rate.
br1ck was kind of just dozing around or something. I don't really know what he was doing. He was waiting for something. I just don't think what he expected was Sib to be as fast as he was to that angle. I certainly was.
And again, it's been a very slow-paced map. It's not like the matches we saw earlier today. It's 1 frag each, a lot slower.
There's respect being given to the two players.
I feel like these guys must play online a lot together anyway. I really feel like, because like, a lot of the American scene, I feel like it's quite tight-knit in that respect.
Oh god, I don't think he got the rail shot off, but there's been a Ghost Walk that's been forced. There's 100 health, 50 armor. He's found him in front, but he's gone with the rocket, the rail, sorry. And that is going to be him falling into the acid, but kind of propelled by br1ck, so he is going to be able to get the kill anyway. Just why rail is the question that I've got there for Sib. That's one of the bigger mistakes that I've actually noticed from him this entire series.
I can only assume he must have made an extreme hard read that br1ck was just on a far side away, but the chance of him being over that far on the map is so low. I don't think it was ever really worth it. Tries to go for a mid-air rocket, but misses the mark, unfortunately. Gives himself away in the process, but br1ck. We'll see if he can make something happen with the stack. He's going to get the light armor anyway, so he's got full of that. No overstack, though, on the armor.
Going for the midi there is optimistic. It's still a hard shot. It's still much easier to hit a rail or lightning gun there. And he goes for what could have been the maximum damage output, but also the hardest job to land.
Nice little entry rocket. The combo as well. Ghost Walk to be safe, but
I like the Ghost Walk a lot, actually. I think that's a good play from br1ck. It's safe. He's managed to get himself onto a major item. This is really nice from him. Initial rocket misses, but the follow-ups are absolutely fantastic from him. So fighting hard to get himself a couple of points in the series.
Oh, good shot.
Oh, wow.
That was an absolutely beautiful rail. Sib continues to be weak here. br1ck collects the Mega. And there is a delay in between Heavy and Mega, so we'll see if br1ck actually chooses to take the fight, or whether that's going to be his next objective.
Sib hasn't been a Heavy in ages. This is like one of the first times he's had presence here in like 4 rotations, it feels like. And he's gone straight away because he just doesn't have the stack to work with it. Mega's not up for ages. Sib's stack is getting lower and lower. He needs to play himself off the map for 30 to 60 seconds. And after that, he's got a chance to make a move. br1ck's going to possibly look at dealing some damage. Now he's just taken the Mega health. And that's a chance for maybe Sib to catch him off guard. But he's being very cautious. br1ck isn't overextending too much, which I do like from him.
I feel like Sib is definitely playing crazy passive at the same time. There is a lot of momentum that can be had on a map like this, so there's no rush yet to try and force something to happen, especially with Death Knight. If he can get a kill without even having to use Flame Strike, and then he catches br1ck off guard without Ghost Walk, I mean, that's a free kill. Ooh. 2 excellent rockets. If he hit that rail, maybe the story would be different. He collects the Mega too.
Big turning point right now. br1ck takes a lot of damage, does nothing in return. Free major item for Sib. It might even be a free second major item. 60 damage there, but with the Heavy about to spawn. Sib's moved away to look for him. Overextension, possibly. He hits good damage. The Ghost Walk's forced out, so that is going to be sick getting on that. He realized that he had to commit to that Heavy somehow. There has been a light armor taken. Vertical rails, difficult shots to land. Sib's got to start taking risks and go through the teleporter exits. The Mega health is up. There's the click, the horrible click that we hate to hear. And br1ck just checking, is it safe for me to get the rail? Oh, he doesn't even care about the rail. I think he just wants the... He doesn't even want the hourglasses, he just wants to be safe. And there's a rocket jump up at the moment, and a vulnerable Nyx. Oh,
what a shot!
And the rocket!
What a shot on the rocket! Absolutely perfectly played. And that's br1ck bringing himself back into this match and then some. Denying the 3-0, that's going to be the best little victory he can have at the end of the day. The 2-0's already happened, right?
Yeah.
If you can get that final map, you can at least make sure you're in the same position as everyone else, right?
Oh, he's gone through. Sib's going to be pushing now. It's still not over. br1ck made a move just then with the defensive air rockets where he can still win himself some points, but he's under pressure, and Sib has got to make sure he's at all the major items. He's so low, and there's a really good rail from br1ck. Now it's highly probable that he's going to take this map, but you still can't make mistakes in the next 20 seconds.
I know we were concerned about using...
Brilliant.
I know we were concerned about Nyx on this map, but I feel like br1ck's Ghost Walk management has been on point. So rarely he's using it in a bad situation. It's keeping him alive. That get out of jail free card where it's just he's getting entry damage. He's going to get a kill. He is! br1ck coming online, unfortunately... 2 3/4 maps too late. However,
I'm glad he's proved me wrong though, because
yeah,
I was
I'm glad too.
definitely smelling out the 3-0 then. It really felt like Sib was just so much more on point of all the fundamentals. But br1ck's turned the heat up. His timing has been great this game. He's been incredibly attentive. He's not been passive really at any points. Only in instances where he's absolutely forced to with no stack, no Ghost Walk, and few weapons. But he's still even pulled out the miraculous defensive plays, which give you a scoreline like this.
And the frags he was able to maintain at the end is probably going to count towards his rankings at some point. You know, we've already seen by some of these ranks that frags are counted anyway in the EU and CIS. And that's going to be that, our first series here in North America. br1ck finally gets a win at the last minute, and now not all is bad.
Look at the damage as well, 4.2k to 2.5k. I mean, I think, if anything, nerves may have played a biggest part for Sib in this last map, because you realise he's so close to 8 points. And 8 points is 8 pints, never mind, later. 8 points is hell a lot better than 4.
Yes.
So you can pressure yourself because you know when you're going up against the caliber of opponents you've got in the Americas division, if I get 8 points, this is giving me a really big advantage. Maybe Sib psyched himself out a little bit because I don't think he was playing quite as solidly as he was in the first couple of maps. But also br1ck seemed like a very changed man on Vale, just in how all of a sudden everything was coming into place for him.
Yeah, for me it was one of those examples of Sib definitely not playing his best, and then br1ck playing the best map he's had all day.
Yeah.
Like his accuracy and some of his crazy shots there were just phenomenal, and little things like that little turnaround rail.
I didn't even actually notice before that Sib landed it on the return when br1ck missed that chance. That's really, really good from him. And that's something that Sib's actually been really good at, is how attentive he's been to just positioning, and it's been allowed him to hit some crazy shots throughout the series. But unfortunately, it's hard to say too many more positive things about Sib on this particular map. Otherwise, this whole series has been very good for him. That was awesome from br1ck.
Absolutely phenomenal aim.
If he lost that frag at the rail, by the way, which he really should have. He had like a 5% chance to win that fight, but he hits the mid-air, the perfect rocket at the end. I think if he lost it, he possibly even loses the map, because that was a huge way in for Sib.
But in terms of what this means for the two players, I mean, at the end of the day, br1ck has been able to at least, I think, stop the bleeding a little bit. He was able to get himself 2 points, and now Sib with the 4, which means that, when you look at even the global leaderboards, that does mean that Sib is just among the other players that received a 2-1 victory today. That 3-0 would have been absolutely a phenomenal start for him, and, who knows how things are going to go in time. Maybe even if the on-part potential that Sib maybe choked that final map and didn't perform his best. I'm always thinking of like hindsight down the line, week 10, and there's going to be a matter of a few points. Let's say that Sib is going to be short 4 points for a placement, and that would have been 4 points that he would have loved very much if he got the extra bonus 2 for a 3-0. But I feel like later down the line, those moments that players will have where they think about their previous results and how they didn't get a 3-0 when they should have, I think that might start